Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into veganism during pregnancy.
Ooh,
I know, right? Super interesting topic.
yeah.
And we've actually got a really fascinating mix of sources for this one.
Cool.
We've got some medical journals, like this Pharmacy 2020 Castoran.pdf.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Ina May Gaskin's Guide to Childbirth,
Nice.
and even some personal stories from vegan moms.
Wow, that seems like a really interesting mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you are curious about, what are the benefits? Are there any risks?
Yeah.
Um,
Like, how can you actually thrive on a plant-based diet while you're expecting?
hmm.
This deep dive is for you.
I love it. You know what I think is really exciting about this particular deep dive
What's that?
is that we're not just talking about abstract theories,
Yeah.
We're really weaving together the hard science with the real life experiences,
Totally.
which I think is always a recipe for a truly insightful deep dive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like getting a backstage pass to how vegan pregnancies actually play out.
And speaking of insights,
Yeah.
one of the things that I noticed in the Pharmacy 2020 Castran.pdf document
Okay.
was this connection between veganism and heart health.
It's interesting.
It seems like there's some evidence suggesting that vegans might have a lower risk of cardiovascular disease.
Right, and that makes total sense.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
Mhm.
plant-based diets, they're often naturally lower in saturated fat and cholesterol.
Right.
And those are the two big culprits behind a lot of heart problems. So it's almost like this built-in advantage
All right.
for your cardiovascular system.
Okay, so that's a major plus
Yeah,
for Team Vegan.
yeah.
But here's where I start to get a little bit nervous,
Okay.
especially when it comes to pregnancy.
Yeah.
Is it really possible to get all the nutrients you need
Mm-hmm.
for you and your baby
Yeah.
on a vegan diet?
That is the million-dollar question.
It is.
I hear that all the time, and the answer is a resounding yes.
Okay.
It requires a bit more planning and awareness than
Mhm.
perhaps some other diets.
Gotcha.
And the Pharmacy 2020 Castran.pdf document actually highlights a few key nutrients
Yeah.
that vegan moms-to-be need to pay extra attention to.
I'm all ears.
Okay, great. So one that often gets overlooked is zinc.
Zinc. Okay.
And you see plant-based foods contain zinc,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a catch.
Right.
They also have these compounds called phytates,
Phytates.
which can actually make it harder for your body to absorb the zinc.
Oh, so it's like you have the treasure chest,
Mhm.
but you can't find the key.
Exactly. It's like you're
Sitting on all this time.
gold mine, but
You can't access it.
yeah.
And actually, this medical journal even suggests that doctors use a special questionnaire
What?
to assess their vegan patients' zinc intake.
A zinc questionnaire.
cool.
That's so cool.
It's pretty cool. It's all about being proactive.
Yeah. Okay. So zinc, what else?
All right, next up is a big one,
Okay.
vitamin B12.
B12. Yep. Now, B12 is absolutely crucial
Mhm.
for your baby's development,
Yeah,
but it's mainly found in animal products.
right.
So this is where a book like Nourish
Okay.
really comes in handy because it really stresses the importance
Okay.
of B12 supplementation
Uh-huh.
for both vegan moms and their little ones.
Interesting.
And what I find fascinating is that B12 isn't actually made by animals. It's
Ah.
made by bacteria that live in their guts.
Wait, so we get B12 from bacteria, not the animal itself.
Isn't that wild?
That is so wild.
Yeah.
Okay, what other nutrients are we looking at here?
So another one that often comes up is calcium.
Calcium, yeah.
You can definitely get calcium from plant sources
Mm.
like leafy greens and fortified foods.
Mm-hmm.
But again, absorption can be a little tricky.
Okay.
So what's cool is that the Pharmacy 2020 Castran.pdf actually dives into the different types of calcium supplements
Oh, wow.
and how well they're absorbed by the body.
Interesting.
It's all about bioavailability, which basically means how much of a nutrient your body can actually use.
Bioavailability makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about eating the right things, it's about making sure your body can actually access the nutrients.
Yes, got it.
What about protein?
Protein.
That always seems to be,
The $1 million.
yeah, the big question
Yeah.
when it comes to vegan diet,
Yes, especially during pregnancy.
especially during pregnancy.
But Nourish actually does a great job of debunking the myth
Okay.
that you can't get enough protein on a vegan diet.
Mm-hmm.
It very clearly states that getting enough protein on a vegan diet is totally doable.
Okay.
It just requires a bit of planning,
All right.
like making sure you're including a variety of protein-rich plant foods
Right.
throughout your day,
Like what?
like lentils, beans, tofu, and nuts,
Okay. Yeah.
things like that.
What about iodine?
Oh, iodine. That's a great one.
Important for brain development.
So crucial for a baby's brain development, and seaweed
Right.
is an amazing plant-based source.
Seaweed. All right.
Yeah.
So it seems like a well-planned vegan diet
Mm-hmm.
can actually be very beneficial
Yeah,
during pregnancy.
totally.
But let's be real for a second.
Okay.
There are always concerns
Yeah,
about potential risks.
for sure.
What does the research say about that?
Well, Pharmacy 2020 Castron.pdf does mention a few pregnancy complications
Okay.
that sometimes pop up in these discussions.
All right.
Things like preeclampsia,
Okay.
gestational diabetes,
Okay.
and premature birth.
Right.
But it's really important to clarify
Okay.
that these conditions are multifactorial,
Multifactorial?
meaning they have lots of different potential causes.
Okay, so you're saying veganism doesn't directly cause these problems.
Exactly. It's more nuanced than that.
Gotcha.
However,
Sorry.
nutrient deficiencies could potentially play a role,
Right.
which circles back to why careful meal planning
Yeah.
and working with a healthcare provider are so important.
Absolutely.
It's about having that balanced approach.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about kind of the physical aspects
Mm-hmm.
of a vegan pregnancy,
Yeah.
but I think it's equally important to address
Totally.
the mental and emotional side of things.
Absolutely. Pregnancy can be such a roller coaster of emotions,
Yeah.
no matter what your diet looks like.
Right.
And I think Ina May's Guide to Childbirth offers some really valuable insights here
Okay.
because it's filled with these anecdotes from mothers
Mm.
who had these incredibly positive birth experiences. And a lot of it really comes down to feeling calm and confident.
So you're saying like feeling in control
Yeah.
of your nutrition
Uh-huh.
and your overall health can actually lead to a more peaceful pregnancy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you feel good physically, it often translates to feeling better emotionally.
Right.
And that can make a world of difference
Yeah.
in those 9 months.
For sure. And speaking of feeling good, the fourth trimester really emphasizes the importance of rest,
Yes.
nourishing foods, and having a strong support system.
It's like building this foundation of well-being
Yeah.
that can carry you through pregnancy and beyond.
Yeah. I love that.
It's so true. And the postpartum period is just as important as the pregnancy itself.
It is.
And self-care isn't selfish, it's essential.
Totally. So do you have any like practical tips from the sources
Oh, yeah.
that our listeners can start implementing now?
Totally. The 4th trimester is full of great advice.
Okay.
One that always stands out to me is preparing freezer meals in advance.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, that way you have these healthy, ready-to-eat meals
Yeah.
when you're sleep-deprived and don't have the energy to cook from scratch.
Such a good idea.
I know.
Okay. What else?
Another tip is to build what they call a couple bubble
Couple bubble.
with your partner.
Okay.
It's basically carving out this dedicated time
Yeah.
to connect and nurture your relationship before the baby comes along,
Right.
because then things get even busier.
That's so important because it's so easy to get caught up in all the baby prep and forget about the relationship.
It really is.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's the classic advice of practicing mindfulness
Yeah.
and relaxation techniques.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th trimester recommends things like breath work and gentle movement,
Right.
which can really help you manage stress and stay grounded during pregnancy and beyond.
It's all about creating a sense of calm and well-being.
You got it both physically and emotionally.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But to make this information even more relatable,
Mm-hmm.
let's dive into a real-life birth story from Ina May's Guide to Childbirth.
Ooh, I love it.
There's one that I think perfectly captures the power of a positive mindset.
Oh, you must be talking about Angelica's story.
Yes.
The one where she laughed during
Yeah.
the most intense part of labor.
I was amazed by that story. Can you tell us more about it?
Well, Angelica was in the throes of labor,
Go.
and things were getting pretty intense.
Yeah.
But instead of tensing up,
Yeah?
she found herself laughing uncontrollably.
Really?
I know it sounds strange,
Wow.
but that laughter actually helped her relax and avoid injury.
So laughter during labor can actually be beneficial.
Apparently so.
It's amazing.
It's like her body's natural way of releasing tension
Yeah.
and staying relaxed.
It really shows you how powerful the mind-body connection can be.
It really is.
Wow.
Angelica's story is a perfect example of
Yeah.
how staying calm and positive
Uh-huh.
can have a real impact on the birth experience.
This has been such an insightful dive so far.
It has.
We've learned that a vegan pregnancy is totally possible and can be healthy, but it requires careful planning
Right.
and working closely with a healthcare professional to make sure you're getting all those essential nutrients like
Yes.
zinc,
Right.
B12,
Yeah.
calcium, protein,
Yep.
all those good things.
It's about having all your bases covered.
Right. And we've also seen how important it is
Yeah.
to nourish your mental and emotional well-being,
Totally.
whether it's through mindfulness practices,
Yeah.
building a support network,
Mhm.
or even finding humor in challenging moments like Angelica.
Exactly.
It seems like the key takeaway here
Yeah.
is that a vegan pregnancy is about so much more
Mm-hmm.
than just the food you eat.
It really is.
It's about creating this holistic
Yes.
sense of well-being
For yourself.
for yourself and your baby.
Your baby, exactly.
Awesome. Well, I think this is a great place to pause for today.
Okay.
We've covered so much already,
We have.
but don't worry, there's more to come.
Yes, we will be back.
We'll be back soon with part 2
With even more
of this deep dive on vegan pregnancy.
insights and information.
All right. Until then, thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time. Yeah, it really makes you think about the power of community, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Especially when it comes to something as life-changing as pregnancy.
totally.
Speaking of community,
Yeah.
I was really struck by this sense of support
Mm-hmm.
described in so many of the birth stories in Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. Yeah.
It just seems like having that strong network is so essential for navigating this whole journey.
You know, that makes me think about all the interventions that are so common in hospital births these days.
Right.
Like epidurals.
Mhm.
Ina May's Guide to Childbirth talks a lot about the potential downsides of those interventions.
Okay.
And it made me wonder if there's a connection between a supportive birth environment
Interesting.
and the need for those interventions.
That's a really interesting observation.
Yeah.
And yes, Ina May's Guide to Childbirth does delve into those potential risks and benefits
Yeah.
of interventions like epidurals.
Mm-hmm.
And while they can be helpful in certain situations,
Yeah.
they also come with potential side effects.
Like what kind of side effects?
Well, for instance, the book mentions that epidurals can sometimes slow down labor,
Oh, wow.
which might lead to the need for other interventions like forceps or vacuum extraction.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And it also talks about how epidurals can interfere with the baby's ability to breastfeed effectively. Wow, I didn't realize there could be so many cascading effects.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if having a supportive team of doulas or midwives
Right.
could help minimize the need for these interventions in the first place.
That's a great point. And, you know, Ina May really advocates for a more natural approach to birth.
Okay.
Whenever possible.
Yeah.
She believes that women should be informed about all of their options so they can make choices that feel right for them.
It's all about informed consent, right?
Absolutely.
Making sure you understand the risks and benefits
Exactly.
before making any decisions.
Yeah, it's a fundamental ethical principle
Right.
that applies to birth, just like any other medical situation.
Okay, so we've talked about the physical and emotional aspects
Mm-hmm.
of a vegan pregnancy,
Yeah.
but let's not forget about those early days and weeks after the baby arrives.
The fourth trimester.
The fourth trimester, exactly.
Yeah.
Nourish touches on that a little bit,
Right.
emphasizing self-care
Mm-hmm.
and stress management during that postpartum period.
And the fourth trimester really dives into that.
Okay.
It introduces this beautiful concept of creating a postpartum sanctuary,
A postpartum sanctuary.
which is all about setting up your environment
Yeah.
and your support system to really nurture yourself during those early weeks and months.
So what does a postpartum sanctuary actually look like?
It's all about prioritizing rest,
Okay.
nourishment, and
Mhm.
connection.
Okay.
The book suggests things like stocking up on healthy snacks and meals,
Yeah.
delegating household chores,
Right.
asking for help from friends and family.
Yeah.
It's about creating that space where you can truly focus on healing,
Right.
bonding with your baby, and just adjusting to this new chapter.
It's so easy to feel like you have to do it all,
It is.
especially as a new parent.
Right.
But it sounds like having a supportive network is so crucial.
It's so important.
Yeah, for navigating those early days.
And it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
Even simple things like having a friend come over to hold the baby while you take a nap or a shower
Yeah.
can make a world of difference.
Those first few weeks are really about survival, right?
They are, and the fourth trimester acknowledges that it's
Yeah.
not about being a perfect parent.
Right.
It's about getting through those early days with as much support and self-care as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about feeding a vegan baby.
Okay.
Nourish really dives into the nutritional needs of infants and toddlers.
It does.
What are some of the key takeaways there?
Well, first and foremost,
Okay.
it dispels a lot of myths about plant-based diets for kids.
Okay.
It very clearly states that a well-planned vegan diet can provide all the nutrients a growing child needs.
So no more worries about protein deficiency.
Exactly.
I know that's like a common concern for parents.
It is, but Nourish explains that plant-based foods can provide ample protein,
Okay.
as long as you're including a variety of sources like legumes,
Mm-hmm.
tofu tempeh nuts, and seeds.
Right. It's all about creating those balanced meals
You got it.
and snacks that are packed with nutrients.
Exactly. And for those picky eaters out there.
Oh, yeah. Every parent's nightmare.
I know, Nourish actually has a whole section on picky eating.
Does it really?
It does, which is so helpful.
Okay.
It emphasizes the importance of offering a variety of foods,
Yeah.
not pressuring kids to eat,
Right.
and making mealtimes enjoyable.
It goes back to that division of responsibility we talked about earlier, right?
Exactly.
Parents provide the food and kids decide how much to eat.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to let go of control,
I bet.
but it's ultimately up to the child to regulate their own appetite.
I love that Nourish also includes a ton of kid-friendly
Oh, yes.
and delicious-sounding recipes.
It's like a one-stop shop
It is.
for plant-based parenting.
So whether you're a seasoned vegan or just starting to explore a plant-based diet, Nourish seems like a must-read for any parent.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic resource,
Yeah.
packed with evidence-based information and practical advice.
Or-
It's like having a vegan parenting expert right there in your kitchen.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes
Yeah.
to the world of vegan pregnancy and parenting.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. It's so much more than just a diet. It's a whole lifestyle
Yeah.
and a philosophy.
And it's not just about the food, right?
Exactly.
It's about this whole philosophy of caring for yourself, your family, and the planet.
Yeah, there's a real sense of interconnectedness
I love that.
that I find really inspiring.
Ain't it
And there's such a strong sense of community and support within the vegan movement.
There is.
It's like a built-in network of people
Yeah.
who are passionate about sharing information,
Mm-hmm.
recipes, and encouragement.
It's a beautiful thing to see.
It is.
People are so eager to help each other navigate this journey
Yeah.
and create a more compassionate and sustainable world.
And that can make all the difference when you're navigating a new way of eating,
Absolutely.
especially during such a transformative time in your life.
Yeah, those connections are so vital.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially during those early days and weeks of parenthood.
for sure.
It takes a village to raise a child.
It does.
And that's especially true when you're navigating the unique challenges and joys
Mhm.
of a vegan lifestyle.
All right, let's bring it back to the sources for a moment.
Okay.
What are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
Well, first and foremost, it's entirely possible to have a healthy and fulfilling vegan pregnancy
Yeah.
and raise thriving vegan children.
Okay.
It's not about deprivation.
Right.
It's about making informed choices that align with your values.
That's a reassuring message for sure.
Yeah,
It takes away the fear factor and replaces it with this sense of empowerment.
exactly. And it's also crucial to work closely with a healthcare provider
Yeah.
to ensure that you're meeting all of your nutritional needs.
Right. They can help you create that personalized plan
They can.
that addresses any potential deficiencies
Yeah,
and ensures that both you and your baby are getting the nutrients you need.
absolutely. And don't forget the importance of self-care.
Oh, yes, preach.
Pregnancy and parenthood can be incredibly demanding.
It can.
So it's essential to prioritize your own well-being,
Yeah.
whether it's through relaxation techniques, nourishing foods,
Mhm.
or simply asking for help.
Yeah.
Self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity.
And build your support network.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to ask for help from your partner, your family, your friends.
Exactly. They want to be there for you.
Yeah.
And even small acts of support can make a huge difference.
Those connections are so vital,
They are.
especially during those early days and weeks of parenthood.
Absolutely. It takes a village to raise a child.
It really does.
And that's especially true when you're navigating the unique challenges and joys of a vegan lifestyle.
This deep dive has been packed with information,
It has.
but we've only just scratched the surface.
We have.
There's so much more to explore.
Yeah, there's a whole world of resources out there. For those who want to explore vegan pregnancy and parenting further,
Yeah.
from books and articles
Mm.
to online communities and support groups,
Yeah.
there's just a wealth of information and connection
Yeah.
waiting to be discovered.
And here's a final thought-provoking question to leave our listeners with.
Okay.
Something that builds on the source material,
Yeah.
but wasn't directly addressed.
Okay, hit me.
What are some ways to navigate social situations,
Oh, interesting.
like family gatherings or holidays
Yeah,
while staying true to your vegan values?
that's a great question. It's something a lot of people grapple with.
Yeah.
It requires communication, compassion, and a little creativity.
For sure.
Maybe that's something we can explore in a future deep dive.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
It's definitely a topic that deserves its own episode.
absolutely.
As always, thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
We're so glad you're here with us
Mhm.
on this journey of exploration and discovery.
Don't forget to share this deep dive with anyone considering a vegan pregnancy or looking for more information on this topic. Leave your comments with any questions you might have.
Yes.
And subscribe for more insightful dives into complex topics.
Awesome. Until next time.
See you next time.
Yeah, it's a really important conversation to have.
Yeah.
And speaking of navigating different perspectives, I wanted to circle back to the medical text Pharmacy 2020 Castoran.pdf for a moment.
Okay.
I remember there being a really interesting section on calcium supplements.
Oh, yes. That was a fascinating little deep dive
Yeah,
into the world of calcium.
it was.
It really highlighted how not all supplements are created equal.
Yeah.
Some forms like calcium citrate are
Yeah.
more easily absorbed than others.
So if you're looking for a calcium supplement, it's not as simple as grabbing the first one you see on the shelf.
Exactly. You need to do a bit of research
Okay.
and
well,
choose one that's going to be effective for your body. That's where working with a knowledgeable healthcare provider can be really helpful.
Right.
They can help you determine the right type and dosage
Yeah.
for your individual needs.
It's all about personalized care.
Absolutely. And speaking of personalized care,
Yeah.
that document also mentioned a specific type of calcium supplement
Okay.
derived from seaweed
What?
called lithothane.
Seaweed calcium.
You know, right?
That's a new one.
It's a natural source of calcium that's becoming increasingly popular.
Okay.
But here's the catch.
What's the catch?
The document pointed out that its bioavailability is actually quite low.
Meaning your body can't absorb it as easily.
Exactly. So while it's great to explore different options,
Yeah.
it's important to understand those nuances of absorption and bioavailability
Okay.
when choosing a supplement.
That's a great reminder for our listeners.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that really resonated with me from the fourth trimester
Okay.
was this concept of matrescence,
Ah.
which basically describes the transition to motherhood.
It's such a profound experience.
It is.
Yeah.
And it can be so challenging.
It's a huge transformation.
Yeah.
Both physically and emotionally.
The book really acknowledges that
Beautiful.
it can be a time of immense joy,
Yes.
but also challenges, and even like shifts in your sense of identity.
Absolutely. And that's why it emphasizes giving yourself grace
Yeah.
and allowing yourself to evolve into this new role.
Right. It's a process, not a destination.
Exactly. It's like you're becoming a new person
You are.
in a way, and that can be both exciting and a little scary.
It can. And that's why having a support system is so crucial
Important.
during that transition.
Yes, it's about surrounding yourself with people who understand what you're going through
Yeah.
and can offer encouragement and guidance.
Speaking of support,
Yeah.
NMA's Guide to Childbirth talks a lot about the role of midwives
Oh, yeah.
in supporting natural births.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that perspective really interesting.
Yeah, it highlights the difference between the medical model of birth, which often focuses on interventions and managing risk,
Right.
versus the midwifery model, which emphasizes the natural process and a woman's innate ability to give birth.
It's like a completely different philosophy.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not about saying one is right and the other is wrong.
Right.
It's about recognizing that there are different approaches to birth.
Yeah.
And women should have the autonomy to choose what feels right for them.
Informed choice is so important.
Absolutely.
Having that knowledge and support to make decisions
Yes.
that align with your values and preferences.
It really is. And it's not just about choosing a care provider or a birth setting.
Right.
It's about feeling empowered to make decisions
Yeah.
throughout your pregnancy and birth experience.
And that empowerment can extend far beyond the birth itself.
Oh, for sure.
It can impact your confidence as a parent
Mm-hmm.
and your overall sense of self.
Exactly. It's about trusting your instincts,
Yeah.
honoring your body's wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and advocating for yourself and your baby.
This deep dive has been such an incredible journey.
It has been.
We've explored the nutritional considerations of a vegan pregnancy,
Yeah.
the importance of mental well-being,
Yeah.
the power of natural birth,
Yes.
and the transformative experience of motherhood.
And we've learned from both scientific research
Yeah,
and personal stories,
it's true.
which has given us a truly holistic perspective.
If our listener could take away just one thing from this episode,
Okay.
what would it be?
I think it would be this. Knowledge is power. The more informed you are, the more equipped you are to make choices
Yeah,
that align with your values and create a positive experience for yourself and your family.
beautifully said.
Thank you.
So to our amazing listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you for being here.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel inspired to continue exploring this topic.
And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation.
It is.
There's a wealth of information out there. And we encourage you to keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep connecting with others who share your passion
Yeah.
for a healthy and compassionate lifestyle.
Don't forget to share this deep dive with anyone who might benefit from it.
Yes, please do.
Leave your comments below
We love hearing from you.
and subscribe for more insightful explorations
Yes,
into the world of knowledge.
absolutely.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
See you next time.